Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to show you how to create a really simple farming web page. So obviously I'm not revealing the deep dark secrets of cyber criminals here, but this is just a trick that you could play on your parents or your brother or sister or something like that. Okay, so you need a couple of tools to do this. You probably want to have a good text editor installed, so I normally use Notepad++, or if you're on the Apple Mac, then you could also install a text editor called Atom. They're both quite good text editors. Notepad++ is only for Windows, but Atom will work on Mac as well, and they're both free. Okay, so once you've got your text editor, open up a browser. I'm using Microsoft Edge here, but any browser is going to be fine. And then go to Facebook. Okay, now this is the main Facebook page, and I'm going to take a screenshot of that page. So on Windows, I can take a screenshot by pressing the print screen key. Okay, that's annoying that that comes up, but okay, so I press the print screen key. Now if I run Microsoft Paint and then I paste, just make that window a bit bigger. Okay, go to paste. Okay, and that's made a copy of the website, the front page of Facebook. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the area which has the main content of the page, so just that part's okay. And then I'm going to choose crop so that I just have that image. Now I need to put that image somewhere, so I'm going to make a folder on my desktop. I've actually got one here. I called it Site for website. So now I'm going to save that picture into the folder that I created. So where's that folder? Desktop, Site. Now make a note of the file name that you save it as. So I'm going to save it as background.png. Now I did this on Windows using Paint. If you're on Mac, I think there is a built-in Paint package on Mac. I don't know exactly what it's called. Or you could even install GIMP for Mac and use GIMP to do your image editing. Okay, so I'll close that down now. Now that's put that picture into that folder. What I'm now going to do is create an HTML page. So I'm going to start Notepad++. Oh, I started Notepad by mistake there, so Notepad++. There we are. Okay, and then in Notepad++, I'll make a new file, and I'm going to write some HTML code. First of all, I write doctype HTML just to let my browser know that I'm writing HTML, and then I put the HTML command. Okay, so here's a really simple HTML file, and I'm going to save that into the same folder that I saved my picture in. So that's on the desktop, in Site. Make sure that I choose HTML as the type of file, and then I'll call this index.html. Now when I save it as HTML, you can see that it now colors in all of the HTML commands. Those are called tags, and when I click on a tag, it will show me the end tag that matches it. So remember, in HTML, every tag needs to have an end tag which begins with a slash. Okay, so now if I double click on that, it's going to open in my browser, and obviously at the moment it's just a very simple web page which says hello. But let's go back to my HTML and start editing it a bit more. Now what I want to do is I want to use the image of Facebook that I took as my background. So I'm going to write style, and then I'll put body. Now in between the style tags I can write any CSS commands. So CSS commands are what we use to change the appearance of a web page, and what I want to do is set the background image. So background image is there, and the background image is called background.png. That's the image that I saved earlier. Now whenever I write CSS commands, I write the name of the command, then a colon, then I write what I want to do, the color or the image or whatever it is that I want to set, and then I put a semicolon. Okay, so this should set the background image as the one that I saved from Facebook. Let's try reloading the page now. Okay, and there's my Facebook image. Now I don't want the Facebook image to repeat, because at the moment it's being tiled, so it actually appears, you can see that it's starting again down here. So to make it not repeat multiple times, I'm going to put background repeat colon and then no repeat semicolon. And I also want to set the background position. So let's make the background position in the center of the screen like that. Okay, just hit reload. Okay, I might need to put center twice for the x-axis and the y-axis. Let's see if that, no, that didn't work. Okay, let's try top center. Okay, that works better. Okay, so I've put background position top center. Okay, now it starts to look a little bit like the Facebook login page. Okay, now it's still just an image, so I can't actually type in here, but that's what we're going to do next. We're going to create boxes here that somebody can type in. So to make a box that people can type in, I use the input command in HTML. So I'll put input, then I write ID equals, now I'm going to make a box here, so let's call that box email. And then I'm going to do a second input. Now with the input command, it is a little bit unusual in HTML. I don't need to write a slash input. What I do is I just put a slash at the end of the command like that, to show that I don't need a slash input. So now I'm going to do a second input. This is going to be for the password, and I'll put a slash there. Now each of these inputs is a different type, because this is going to be text and this is going to be a password. Okay, now if I save that and hit reload, now I've got two boxes that I can type in here. So this is where you'll type in your email, and this is where you'll type in your password, but obviously they're not in the right position. So what I do is I need to move these into the right position. Now each of these has an ID, so this one is called email. What I do is I write hash symbol email here, and then I can set the position that it appears on the page. So I write position absolute. Now I want to set the location, so now this is where I might want to have it still open in my paint package, and I don't have it open now, so I'm just going to open this up again in paint. Okay, now in my paint package, when I move the mouse around, you can see down the bottom of the screen it shows me the coordinates where my mouse is. Okay, so if I move my mouse over here, it tells me that those coordinates, it's 64442. Now if I move over to the other side, that's 993 and 79. Now those coordinates aren't going to work exactly, so 644 and 32, hold on, that's the wrong way round. That was 644 and that was 32. and then the second one was 997 and 79, wasn't it? So right 997 and bottom 79. Now PX stands for pixels, so these are the position on the screen for the top, the left, the bottom and the right side of the box. Now the problem is that I've measured them on this paint package. When it's open in my browser, the coordinates are going to be slightly different, so the box isn't going to appear in exactly the right place, but I can fix that if I change the background position. Now let's see. I think I'm going to put this background on the left and try reloading it. Okay, now it's almost but not quite in the correct position. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to make this, yeah, that should be okay. Let's increase the top coordinate a little bit more. So instead of 32, I'll make it 40, and then I need to add 10 to the 8 to the bottom coordinate as well. So let's put it at 87, and then reload. Okay, so that text box is starting to fill up there. Now actually, instead of instead of bottom and right, what I need to do is set the width and the height of the box. So let's try setting those. The width should be, I don't know, I'm just going to experiment with some values here and see how they look. Okay, that's a little bit too big, but not too far off. So let's make it about 370 and about 30 maybe. Okay, the height is about right, a little bit shorter though, so maybe 340 pixels. There we go, that's perfect. Okay, so my text now fits over the top of the text box for Facebook. Now I don't want to have a black border around it, so to make it look more realistic, I'm going to put border none and reload. Okay, so now it still looks like I've got a box there, and I can click on it and I can type in an email, but it's not actually the real Facebook email box. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing with this password box. So I write hash password. I'm going to copy all of that because most of it is going to be the same, but I'm just going to change the top coordinate. Let's try 80 and see if that lines up in the right place. So I probably want the border just so that I can see where I'm putting the box at the moment. Okay, needs to be lower than that, so let's try putting it at 120. That's a bit too low. Maybe 105. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so this is where I type in the password. So now I can turn the border off there as well. Now it might look a bit more realistic if I make the font a bit bigger, because the font looks kind of small there. So I'm going to set the font size to be bigger. Let's make it 110% of the normal size. There we go, that looks a bit more realistic, right? So I might move it down just a tiny bit as well, so maybe about 44 pixels. Okay, that looks really realistic now. So if somebody comes to this page, they're going to click here, type in their email address, blah blah blah, then they're going to click here, they're going to type in their password. Okay, now the next thing is we have to make the login button work. So we're going to make a button. I'm going to go down here, I'm going to write button, and this button needs to say login. Is it a capital I on the, yeah, it is capital I, login / button, and I need to give this an ID as well, so I'll call it button. Okay, and if I reload, Now that button is up there, so I've got to do the same thing. I've got to move the button over here so that it goes over the Facebook button. Now I'm just going to copy this again. Okay, so this time let's make the font size about 130% because I want it to be big this time. I still don't want any border. The left is probably going to be about the same position, about 644 pixels, but let's move the top down a bit more, so maybe 165. Let's see where that goes. Okay, that's quite close. It's not quite right, but it's close, so I'll just make it a little bit bigger. Okay, and I've got to make the background color match up, so what I could actually do is set the background to transparent, and then it will show the Facebook color through the middle of the button, and I can actually remove the text from the button and it will just show the Facebook text underneath. Okay, so I've got a button there which is invisible, but it does still exist, and when I click it I can make it do things. So now we're on to the last part of our website. So we've seen two languages that we can use to make website. We know that you can write HTML code like this, and we also know that you can write CSS code like this. Now the HTML code is what we use to write text, and also we can give HTML commands, and the CSS code is how we change the way that things look. There's one other language that we use for making websites, and that is JavaScript. Now you don't have to know JavaScript for this course, but I'm just going to show you a tiny little bit of JavaScript that we're going to write into this page. So to write your JavaScript, you write the HTML command script, and then you write /script, because remember HTML always has a start and an end command. Okay, now I'm going to write a function here, and I'm going to make an alert. I stole your password. Okay, and I need to give my function a name, so let's call this submit. Now on the button I write onClick equals JavaScript :submit open and close brackets, like that. What that means is that when someone clicks the button, it's going to run a JavaScript program, and that program is called submit. So now let's save it and reload and try clicking login. Okay, and it says I stole your password. Now it only says that message, it doesn't actually do anything yet. So let's try and get the user's password. So the password has an ID, it's called password. So here's the JavaScript program. I do const password equals document dot get element by, I'm going to make this editor a bit bigger, by ID password dot value. Okay, so now I can write it is plus password. Okay, let's test that out. So I go back to the site, I'll hit reload. Okay, now let's imagine that maybe you leave this website open or something, and one of your family comes and log. I'm not suggesting this at all, guys, right? This is just like an imaginary exercise. So then maybe one of your little brother or something comes, and he types his name in here, Fred at fred.com. Okay, and then he types in his password here, and he clicks the login button, and it tells you, okay, I stole your password, it is cheeseburger, which is the password I typed in there. Okay, so this is a really simple trick website that you can use to fool people into giving away their password. But it is just a demonstration, guys, so use it responsibly, all right? Okay, I hope you found that interesting. Thanks very much.